Hey guys, it's the Chad, your C10 truck nerd. Well, for the last couple of years, I'm sure you've heard me say that the city and neighbors are always on my back about my old junk C10s and all my yard art here on the property. And I won't lie, it's gotten out of control again. Now, I was hoping we could do something fun like go through and give you a walk around and show you my inventory of stuff on the property, because it might motivate me to sell something, but who are we kidding? You know, I'm a big fat truck hoarder with no self-control, so there's no hope. Well, if you've been following the channel, you know that I buy, sell, trade, and flip a bunch of 67 to 72 parts and trucks each and every year. And we kicked this year off with a bang, you know. I got a ton of great leads on trucks, found a ton of parts so far, but the problem is I'm not selling and flipping and trading like anything. Maybe some smalls here and there, but it's kind of getting excessive. Now, when I built that 30 by 40 shop out back, I thought, hey man, I'm gonna really clean the property up, and I may or may not have promised my wife that all of this stuff would end up out there, and truly it hasn't. I took a few pieces out back and bought a bunch more and filled that all up, and then I bought more stuff and just stacked it higher here. I mean, truly I could run a small C10 salvage yard right here on the property, and guess what? City says that's illegal, and I got problems again. So I thought, man, maybe if I give you guys a walk around and show you my inventory, it might motivate me, because I feel bad to go through and sell some more stuff, but who am I kidding? I'm a truck hoarder, and it's probably just gonna get worse from here. So see what I got. So let's start off with my 1971 Chevy C10 long bed that my daughter named Bluey. Now, I was looking for a nice all-original patina truck that I could make a daily driver, and I really had my eyes set on a 1971 GMC, but my buddy just couldn't get the title work figured out, and we sat and waited for 4 or 5 months, so I kind of just gave up. I found this one on FaceSpace. Guy made me a great deal, and he even delivered it to the house for me for free, so Bluey was going to be my patina driver. And I kid you not, the day after this arrived, my buddy Jeff called me and said, hey, guess what? The title work finally came through and you can come get the GMC. And I was like, yay, you know, another truck. But of course, I'm a truck hoarder, so I immediately went down there, picked it up and brought it home, and that was going to be my patina driver. So Bluey, we decided just to go through and fix her up, and needed a steering column, some other stuff, so I cleaned it up real good and said, man, I'm just gonna sell this one. Got a title for it, so that was that until things changed again. Well, since I decided to sell Bluey, then this was gonna become my patina driver, because I love green paint. I've never had a GMC before, and I thought, man, this would be great for the channel to show a lot of the differences between Chevy and GMC. Now, my daughter went through and named this one Forest, which I think it's awesome, my first kind of boy truck, but I do love this truck, and this is gonna be something fun. Now, my plan was to go through and make this a super cheap budget truck, you know, like something a high school kid could afford by, you know, just throwing some Bondo down in the floors and maybe some fiberglass in the cab corners and just get her on the road. But my 10-year-olds claim that this is gonna be her truck one day, and it may or may not, but I love that she still wants to work with Dad, and if she'll help me build this one up, that gives me quality time with her. So I need to do it kind of right. Now I got to do some safety stuff, and you know, it's not going to be a budget anymore. You know, the bad thing is with these trucks, if you don't immediately start on it when you had a plan, you change your plan like 5,200 times, and you're going to put about 10, 12, 15,000 more dollars into it than you planned. But you know, it is what it is. But this is going to be a pretty slick truck. So that leads us to the 1970 Chevy C10, or pieces of the 1970 Chevy C10. You know, this one I didn't even want. You know, I had a buddy from the local C10 club reach out to me because he likes me or hates me, I'm not sure which, but he said, hey, I've got a buddy that's got a 1970, basically full truck minus the chassis, because they needed it for their build. So I definitely didn't want it. So I said, sure, what time can I go meet him? And we struck up a deal, and sat in his garage for way too long, and he finally made me come get it. So once we did, I realized, man, it's not as nice as I thought it was gonna be. It's just rose-colored glasses, you know? So we drug this one home, but again, it was a full truck minus the frame. So a lot of parts that I could flip quickly. It had one of the biggest junky beds on it that I had had in a while, so I posted it, and a guy had come through and said, "Hey man, I'm interested." And I was like, "You sure?" Because he was doing a restoration, and I'm like, "Oh no, that's the one you want." So he came out and looked at it and he says, "Oh man, this is not near as nice as I thought it was going to be." And I said, "Well, I had pictures and everything, but he was going to pass on it and go on down his way." So I said, "Well, if you're looking for a long bed, how about the one off of Bluey?" And he says, "Well, is that for sale?" And I'm like, "Everything's for sale for the right price." So he liked it, and 4 hours later, him and his boys and we loaded that thing up on his trailer and away it went. So now I've got this one. So I did sell the bed the other day. I mean, I was desperate, so I even drove it over like 45 minutes to the guy's house and delivered it. So that one's gone. Just got to get rid of that now. It's got a title, P.S. So since I already had 3 trucks on the property, I'm like, well, why not add a 4th? So I got a lead about an auction where a guy had a 67 to 72 short bed chassis and cab and bed and a million other parts. And I haven't been to an auction in a long time, so I loaded up the girls, thought that'd be fun. And I did the thing where you hold up the number card and they say, "Hey Chad, guess what? You won." And then I was like, oh boy, what did I do now? So what it actually was a 1969 Chevy short bed chassis, great step side bed, and it came with the 68 cab, which is in really good condition. So I'd already gone through and sold that 68 cab and a ton of the parts and did really good on, flipping that stuff. But now I'm left with a 69 short bed chassis and the step side bed. And, I always thought, man, you can never have enough short bed chassis until you have too many short bed chassis. And step side bed, like I said, it's in great condition, but I'm not a big fan of step sides. But I've got a video I want to make about the differences of all the beds in this era, and so I've got to save it. So that's this one. So speaking of cabs, that leads us to the 1967 Chevy C10 that Garrett and I parted out a while back, and I've got almost all the parts sold other than the cab because it's bad, I guess. I've been trying for months to get that thing gone, and we actually got somebody coming to look at it tomorrow, and he offered us like real money, so that's a win. Got a set of doors in the back of my pickup that he's gonna buy too. Last night we sold a sweet bed off of a 1968 Chevy C10, all fiberglass bedsides. It's been tubbed out, just gorgeous black paint on that. Glad that's gone because it was more expensive than all of my trucks put together here in the driveway. We've got a 67 all original short bed chassis. We keep stuff at alternate locations because I don't want to keep real expensive stuff here. That way it doesn't like walk away. I feel the weight. It's a lot of stuff to keep track of too, and I don't know, I just want to keep buying more, but I know I shouldn't. I really feel bad for my wife. She's a saint, and having to look at all this, and every time she's like, when did we get that? And I'm like, oh, it's been here for months. But I don't know. Let's keep trucking. So that leads us to trailer number 1. Now, when we moved here about 8-9 years ago, is it 10 years? I don't know. We moved here some time ago. I needed a small trailer just to haul junk around. So I picked me up this 5x10 carry-all. I don't know, one of those you can buy from Lowe's or Home Depot out there off a marketplace. Got a great deal on it because, I just get great deals on stuff, or at least I tell myself that in my head. But I've been using the crud out of this, and you'd be surprised how much C10 stuff and cabs you can actually get on one of these little dudes. So this is, I can't get rid of it because I still use it. So the train is getting longer. I mean, thank goodness I have this massive driveway, or I couldn't, and maybe it's a curse I have this big a driveway too. So that's the little trailer. So I won't lie, I was pretty psyched when I sold the bed off of Bluey there because the bed alone pretty much covered what I paid for the whole truck. Downfall was it was actually parked where the step side bed was. And when I pulled that bed off, I was like, wow. Now you could really see how much junk I had leaned up against the garage, and it was a lot right then. And then I was like, oh no, if I can see it from here, then the city and all the neighbors and people that walk up and down our street can see it too. So I panicked. So I called my cousin Garrett and I said, hey, why don't we just like rearrange some stuff to make it not look so bad? So we did that, and It still looks bad, but it's just a different, it looks different, so maybe people don't think this stuff's been sitting here so long. So that's that. So then once I sold the bed off of Bluey, I was like, oh no, now what do I do? Because that's not a whole truck anymore. And then I thought about, okay, maybe we'll just take the 70 cab because I got a good title on it, and it's not near as bad as I say it is, but it's a 70, and you guys know I'm a 71 guy, so I was like, we'll save this and put this on one of the short bed chassis. And then I decided, well, we sold the bed off Bluey, so now my plan is I'm going to take Bluey's cab, which is a 71, and I'm going to put that onto one of my short bed chassis and build that up. So, and that's back for sale. And I can sell the chassis from Bluey because it's a 71, so it's 5-lug front disc brakes. So that'll be nice for somebody. But it's just, I got to get me a dry erase board and just start writing stuff down. And again, if you immediately don't go through and follow through on your plans, they're going to change, and they'll probably change by the end of this video. What a mess. Oh yeah, so that leads us to trailer number 2. I kind of forgot about that and with all the junk on it, but I've really wanted my own car trailer for years. I've always kind of relied on my cousin Garrett to help me out. So I'd been searching for months upon months, and neighbor down the street had a buddy that was selling this one, and he bought it brand new, hardly used it. So other than having to go through and put a set of tires on it and repack the bearings and stuff, I got me an 18-foot Diamond C, 4-foot dovetail, metal frame bottom. It's slick, so that's in the driveway too. I went through and helped one of my buddies sell a bunch of sheet metal, almost an entire truck of light green code 503 off a 68 GMC truck, and it's my favorite color, you know, probably the most desirable color out there for patina right now. So we went through and listed it, and I got it sold for him. But it's kind of sad because as much as I love 503 and I've gone through cabs and almost all the sheet metal of trucks, I've never had one for myself. But, you know, crossing my fingers, if you guys find a cheap, you know, 67 to 69 and light green code 503, perfect patina, short bed, or I'll even cut it down for, you know, $5,000 or less, you know, just sell it to somebody else and make a bunch of money. But if not, and you feel sorry for me, just send it my way. So I don't even know what I was talking about now. Oh yeah, that led me to this. So what this is a full front clip off a 1969 Chevy C10, and this was actually the guy that I sold all the 503 stuff to, so I was nice enough to go deliver it for him, and the next thing I know, I'm loading the front clip off his old truck onto my trailer and basically buying that. And I don't know, front clip's decent. I mean, good grill on it. I'll be able to flip it and make money and all that. I went through and was fiddling with this hood. It was in really bad shape. Somebody sanded all the top paint off of it, and it was all rust. So I was like, I'm gonna practice my patina skills. So went through and got me a rattle can from Menards for $3, and I thought it turned out pretty jazzy. But another front clip that I didn't plan on bringing home, and it's also for sale. So that leads us to trailer number 3. Now this one luckily is not mine. I'm helping a buddy sell this one. I had another guy reach out to me saying he was looking for a 5x8 or a 5x10. He says, hey Chad, you do all these trailer safety videos. Most of them I'm looking at I think are stolen, which most of them are. You know, if you're trying to buy something off of Marketplace or Craigslist and the pictures are taken at nighttime, they're blurry, or there's already stuff on the trailer, more than likely it's hot. So watch all those trailer safety videos and the tips and warnings that I got out there. But this one I'm not trying to make any money on. I'm just helping 2 guys out in the process there. So he should be here today, maybe tomorrow to pick it up. So luckily it's only sitting here a few days, so it's more. So then we moved to like all the miscellaneous smalls that I've got sitting here. And the nice thing about a long bed is you can put a lot of long bed parts and truck parts in there, and then you got all these cabs, and then you can fill that full of stuff there too, and then you can just put more junk here and more junk there, and then you just hide stuff underneath the trucks, and then you got fenders, and then you've got hoods, and you can hide a bunch of doors back behind them and tailgates, And then you got the step side bed, and then you can hold a big stash of rally wheels under there, and then more doors and more tires and springs and you know, yeah, relay rods. It's just, yeah, it's a lot. And then we could show you some, oh yeah, lots of control arms. So then you got the bonus of having a walkout pit, because from the street nobody can see how much junk you got down here, like a bunch of rallies and grills and control arms and short bed panels. It's I don't know, good thing I'm good looking and charming, or my wife would probably leave me. Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing. It's nothing to worry about. Nope, that is just part of the decor of the house. Yep, okay. Now, one of the last things that I haven't told you guys about is this 1972 original Chevy C10 short bed chassis. Now, this one's gonna be for me. You know, it's a 5-lug disc brake, 373 out the back in really good condition. Now, I'm not gonna disclose exactly what I'm gonna do with it yet, because, you know, my plans change constantly, but this is gonna be something special. Now, a lot of the stuff that I have out here, guys, it's not to make money, it's to go through and help people out. I really enjoy seeing a kid's face, a teenage kid and his dad, when they come over and buy a used fender for 40 bucks, or helping a guy on a really tight budget, because if we don't keep these used parts in circulation, there's gonna be no more hot rodding, because it is super expensive to buy stuff, especially if you want shiny paint. So I'm really digging this patina stuff. That way I can help people out, you know. If you guys got your kiddos in the house and they're on the tablets all the time, encourage them to come outside and turn a wrench with you, or even a neighbor kid down the street. If you got to go bleed the brakes, let them come and pump them, or show them how to change the oil or a spark plug, because it's going to be really good for them there. You know, I make all this social media, but I encourage kiddos to get off of it if all possible there. But I just have a blast doing all this, meet so many cool people, you know, especially like at C10 Nationals. It's just an awesome network of hot rodders and car people up here. I don't know how I just got off on this tangent, but I really love it. I encourage you guys to keep the next generation going too. Well, folks, that's going to do it for today's episode, and I really hope you feel better about yourself after seeing what a complete truck hoarder I am, you know. I used to love that TV show Hoarders, and I'm like, how in the world do people let it get that bad? And then I turn around and I'm like, ta-da, I'm there. Now, I'd love to say that I'm not going to go deliver these 2 doors here in a little bit, and then hook my trailer up and go pick up 2 brand new short bed sides in the boxes. And the guy's also got one of those 69 to 72 LMC hoods where they're got the slant nose like a 67, 68. I just love the looks of those, and now you kind of get the 2-in-1. I thought it was kind of cheesy when they first came out, but I saw one painted up at Nationals and I was like, it's kind of cool. You know, I'm different, GMCs, all that stuff. That was weird doing that. That's not where that came from. But anyway, if you guys haven't, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you guys got the phone number to C10s Anonymous, you might send it my way, or actually scratch that. Just if you have any leads on 67 to 72 parts, send that my way, because I just have no self-control. Well, I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching. I gotta sell some stuff.